So when the user signs out, we have this sign up form where they can put in a display name and they can put in an email address and a password. Right now, this form doesn't do anything because it's not wired up. I think it actually clears stuff out. Yeah, all it does is empty out the state, which is not super helpful. So let's jump in and let's implement this. So we've got the sign up form. And here we've got handle submit. And all handle submit does is, again, sets the state back to empty. Seems legit. Let's actually go ahead and implement some of this. So we can grab the display name, the email, and the password off of the state. Say email, password, display name is this.state. And then we're going to try to go ahead and create a user. So everything in, not everything, most things in Firebase are promise-based. So you could use a promise chain of then and catch. We can also make this an async function and use async await, which allows you to use just regular old JavaScript try-catch blocks. So let's go ahead and try that one out. If we were better at our jobs, we probably would have been error handling a few other places as well, but what are you going to do? So we'll say const, our new user object is going to await auth. Gotta love that Visual Studio Code. Create user with email address and password. That sounds like the one that I want. As you can see, with the telesense, it takes 2 arguments, an email address, and a password. I have an email address and a password from state, so I can pass those in. Email and password. You can see there's not really any place to give it a display name. So we're going to have to deal with that in a little bit. And you can, if you look at this IntelliSense, it'll return a promise that will be user credentials, just like we got when we did the Google Auth. All right. So we'll have that. I'm going to do a little quick, do a catch here for now. Catch the error. We'll just, should we console error or do you want to alert it? What's everyone feeling? Not all at once. We're making important architecture decisions here.
Console error. I like this little yellow to it. It's very chill.
Console, no, this is, if we're catching error, we're console erroring at the very least. Yeah, we're good at this. Cool. And so this will go ahead and create the user. It'll actually also log them in, which will probably be enough. We're going to see one option for solving the display name issue, and then we'll see why it's not great. So like I will get your hopes up, and then I will bring them back down. All right. So we'll say user.update profile. And you can see I can update the display name and the photo URL here. We don't have a photo URL yet, so we'll just go with display name. So we go here, sign up, and it will be Bob Ross. Sure, that seems like a decent email address. It does insist on 6 characters by default. So we set the display name, but there's no display name here. And this kind of makes sense if you think really hard about it, or also known as it doesn't make any sense until you stare at it wondering what's wrong, and then eventually it comes to you as you're taking a walk down the street a week later. Which is, with that first await, we created the user which logged them in, which triggered auth state change, which caused us to be logged in, and then we set the display name. So if I refresh the page, now we have a display name in there, right? Not great. We can solve some of this in, we could either update some state with it. There's a whole bunch of different options that we can do. I'm going to solve this by creating that user profile anyway, which is I'm going to like sit there and start setting things create a user profile that will then hook into the real-time facilities of Cloud Firestore, so I won't have to worry about any of this. But that is just a thing to think about, which is auth state change is not the same as like Cloud Firestore, which is for every change to that user. It's only going to be when they transition from logged out to logged in, or from logged in to logged out, which is really what it says on the tin. So like that's not like totally surprising that it does that, but that is absolutely a thing. So if we go here, we go to authentication. The other cool thing we can do in the Firebase console is we can actually see all of the users that have signed into the application. You can go ahead and add, only if you are using like email address and password, you can go ahead and create users manually too. You can also go ahead here and you can see you can reset passwords, disable and delete accounts. So you don't have to build that functionality yourself. You kind of get it for free.